is a talented actress and outspoken activist who made history with her Emmy-nominated performance as inmate Sophia Bursette on Orange is the New Black, before becoming the first transgender woman to grace the cover of Time magazine. Starting next Friday, you can see her alongside Lily Tomlin in the new indie drama, Grandma. Please welcome a true inspiration, the beautiful Laverne Cox.
To be here.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. Oh, gosh.
Laverne, earlier we were talking about the controversy of having a plus-size model who appeared on the cover of a fitness magazine. What do you think about that?
Well, as a black trans woman who's been on the cover of a few magazines myself, what is so amazing for people, for the public out there, is just be able to see representations in the media that reflect who they are. And we know that the majority of women in the United States are a size 14 or above, and so they need representation. And when I saw this on cover like last week, I thought, how awesome is this? Because I know so many people who are plus size, who still work out, who exercise, and just because you're a plus size does not mean that you can't, be healthy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, Laverne, when Orange is the New Black premiered in 2013, you really became a breakout star. And since that time, you've really become the voice for the transgender community. How does it feel?
Truth be told, it's a huge responsibility. There is so much work that needs to be done in the trans community. So many of us are dying simply for being who we are, through suicide, through murder. A lot of us don't have access to health care. It's a huge, huge responsibility. It's something that I don't take lightly. It's exhausting, and I'm trying to remember that I'm also an actress and finding balance with it. But it's been really amazing to travel the country and meet trans people who tell me that my visibility has kept them from suicide or inspired them to.
Amazing. Now, we've all also been watching Caitlyn Jenner transition into the beautiful woman that she is. And how is that for you? Do you feel like she's helping the community? What's the impact you think she's having?
I've always believed that it's not just about a few marginalized folks. That it's not about positive or negative representation, but about diverse representation. When I think about Caitlyn's story, it's so very different from mine. I mean, I transitioned in my 20s, working class, black, struggling. She's transitioning in a very different time in her life, and the visibility that she has, she can reach so many more people. And I think that's really amazing and impactful. And when I think it's so beautiful, too, one other thing I would say is that I think what is so beautiful is that she's using her privilege to elevate the stories of trans folks who don't have the privilege as she does. And I think that's really beautiful.
Earlier this year, you did an amazing nude photo shoot for Allure magazine. Now, we heard here at the talk that they'd asked you a few times to do this shoot, but you refused, so why now?
I said no like 3 times. And honestly, I was like, so often with trans women, we so often exist in media in very sexualized ways. And although it's important for me to embrace my sexuality, I'm so much more than that. And when I finally decided to say yes, is I thought this would be a great way to have a new trans body that is beautiful, hopefully, and not sexualized. Norma Jean Roy, the photographer, is so brilliant, and I think they did such a great job with the photo. And so I hope it was empowering for us to embrace our bodies, our sexuality, and all of who we are in ways that are not about exploiting or overly sexualizing us.
Wonderful. That's right. So, Laverne, when you were growing up, people didn't always understand what it meant to be transgender. So, I guess for people to understand, when did you start to feel, and I hope I get this right, that you didn't identify with the gender that you were assigned at birth?
Well, I always felt like a girl, and I didn't have language to sort of fully understand that. I've always told this story, but it just feels, I feel like everyone sort of around me knew before I did. In third grade, my third grade teacher, Miss Ridgway, called my mother on the phone and said, your son is going to end up in New Orleans wearing a dress if we don't get him into therapy right away.
Wow.
Like,
Wow.
right?
For a good reason or therapy for?
Oh, this was to fix me. This was to make sure that I didn't act as I was a little girl. I really
But
was a little girl.
there anybody in your family that knew it and that loved you through it and said that baby is going to be something special?
No girl. It was all about fixing me, and I internalized a lot of shame about who I was. And it wasn't until I moved to New York and met actual trans people that I was like, oh, okay, this is who I am, and this is not a terrible thing. And I think it just goes to show the power. Even someone who was struggling with this, like I was, my whole life, this gender identity stuff. It wasn't until I met actual trans people, got to know them as people, that all the ideas I'd internalized about trans people changed. So that, for me, goes to the power of getting to know people as people.
This was what decade? You grew up in what town and what decade are we talking about?
I grew up in Mobile, Alabama back in the day. Back in the day, yeah. We don't say the decade.
That's right.
What advice can you offer to any parent that has a child who the child expresses that they don't feel like they are the sex that they were assigned to at birth?
I think what my mom said, her first national interview, hi, Mom. What my mom says is listen to your child. And it's something that my mom and I have had a really intense struggle through all of this. My mom's amazingly supportive now. I think listen to your kids. They know who they are. And PFLAG has this, they do amazing work, specifically around friends and family of people who are LGBTQ. And they have this great trans ally resource that I highly recommend for anyone who wants to be a better ally to the trans community. Go check it out.
Much more with Laverne Cox when we come right back.
The incredible Laverne Cox. Now, after the first season of Orange is the New Black was filmed, you actually were working. You had a job, a part-time at a restaurant in New York City, which you were holding on to. So why did you hold on? You know, you had this big show you had just shot. Why were you holding on?
I didn't know it was going to be a big show. And this isn't my first time at the rodeo. So I shot tons of TV and independent movies that didn't take off. And so you don't quit your day job. So I stayed at the restaurant. I was working at a place called Lucky Chang. Shout out to all my girls. So I kept my job.
Yeah.
You know, keep your day job.
Yes, I understand.
It wasn't Lucky Chang. It was a different restaurant where you had a very memorable experience down in Union Square.
Yes.
What happened?
I used to work at a place called Coffee Shop in Union Square. Anybody from New York City heard of Coffee Shop? And unfortunately, this was a trend at the time that I worked there, that people would run out on their checks. They would dine and dash. And the waiters were responsible for paying for that check. And I was like not having it. And so the second I saw that they had left without paying, I am in heels trying to be cute. And so I like run out of the restaurant. We have security. I'm like, someone just ran out. And I see them and I start running through Union Square to get my money from them. And I caught them. And then security, by the time I caught them, security was behind me. And I was running through Union Square, very Carrie Bradshaw in my heels. And I got them and I got my money.
Yes, you did.
You and all your co-stars from Orange is the New Black recently went on a fabulous trip to Paris.
Oh, yeah, we went to Berlin and Paris, yes.
Wow.
All right, what was your favorite part of the travel?
Just being in Paris. I'd never been to Paris. This is my first time, and it's a dream come true city for me. Shopping, just going on the Champs-Elysees, and then the piece of like, our show was popular there, but like I could walk down the street and people not recognize me was pretty amazing. And the shopping was incredible. And you get these crazy, amazing tax breaks too, so I highly recommend shopping. In Paris, amazing.
Now, we mentioned briefly, but you're also in the new indie drama Grandma, which comes out next Friday. So tell us about it. Tell us who you play.
Grandma is starring the brilliant Lily Tomlin. Is basically about her helping her granddaughter raise money for a certain something that I won't tell you. And so she's going around to her old friends to help raise money. And I play one of Lily's old friends. Her name's Deathy, and I'm a tattoo artist. And it was so much fun for me to get into this mindset of someone who does tattoos for a living. What makes you decide to do this? And then coming up with her look was so much fun for me. And we based the look on a woman. I used to work at Lucky Chang's with named Lila Lansing. Hi, Lila. And Lila has this sort of rockabilly look and all these beautiful piercings and tattoos. And so I sent Paul Weitz, the brilliant Paul Weitz, our director, I sent him reference photos, and he was like, I'm so into it. So we created this look for Deathy based on my friend Lila. And I learned how to do tattoos from YouTube. Because I didn't have time to visit a tattoo shop. I was crazy, like, traveling. So I was watching YouTube videos, like, on the plane and stuff to, like, figure out how to, like, hold a gun and stuff. And then I got some lessons on set. It was awesome.
Awesome.
Before you became an actress, your first love was dance.
Yes.
And we have some footage of you showing off some of your moves and getting your inner Beyonce on stage this summer. So let's take a look at this clip.
Oh, my God. I love it. You blurred out. Yeah.
But you look fabulous. So here's a question. How did it feel getting up there showing off your sexy side?
So first of all, I have to say that this is for Broadway Bears. Broadway Cares, Equity Fights AIDS. And this organization has been around for so long, and Broadway Bears, this year was their 25th anniversary. And so I saw it for the first time years ago, and I was like, I want to do that. And I grew up dancing, and they asked me to do it, and they wanted me to do a skit, and I was like, no, I want to dance. And so Kellen Stansel, who choreographed it, is a friend of mine, and we just had a ball. And it just, I don't know, it makes me want to dance again. And I did feel very sexy. There was a lot of hair whipping, a lot of hairography. And I felt really sexy and powerful, and it was all for an amazing cause. So I was really happy to do it.
Looks like you had a great time. Laverne Cox, ladies and gentlemen. Grandma opens in theaters next Friday, and Orange is the New Black is available on Netflix now.